the people with the backwards attitude, pointing fingers, and that's a bad excuse for sitting on your ass when you've been playing stupid things that you don't want to change.
Well, at least YouTube is consistent. I've had content in this movie that I've tried to put up here on this channel 3 different times. I've put one that's called They Lie, We Live with this information back in 2018 of August, and it was deleted, so I hosted it on BitChute. And now I'm going to go ahead and redo this for a 4th and final time. I'm going to shorten it to about 10 minutes. As you can see, it was like over an hour long, but they use silly excuses. WWE has blocked it. They don't like you tying in the fact that what they're showing you on television is fake, like fake sports. This has Andre the Giant, who is dead, and Hulk Hogan, so I'm sure they don't really care if someone watches a wrestling match from 35 years ago. But this music here is in the background with me talking over it, so how can it be copyright? Anyhow, I'm going to remove all of that. If you get a chance, check out this group here. It's one of the best Christian rap groups I've ever heard. Really make you think. All you people most referred to as globetards, I call you curveballers. A curveball is a pitch that's designed to trick and deceive a person. That's what your ball earth is doing to you. But if you question the lies they tell you about the phases of the moon, the solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse, things that you can verify and test with your own eyes, you'll discern the truth. And it says, Jesus said in Matthew, in the end, the moon will not give her light. So that tells you, he says it's got its own light. It's not reflecting sunlight. Wake up before you burn up, curveball. We must be as the Bereans. As Paul said in Thessalonians, question everything and hold fast to that which is good. The book of Genesis tells you, the sun, moon, and the stars are a sign unto us. It's only a sign, people, if you look at it. Don't let these deceivers tell you you're going to go blind if you look at the solar eclipse. It's a lie out of the pit of hell. They don't want you to realize it's not the moon blocking the sun. I mean, common sense would tell you, if they landed on the moon, and it is as they state, every new moon you should see a dark orb in the sky. You don't see anything. It disappears. Wake up, folks. It's as it says in Romans, let God be true and every man be a liar. These space agencies, that's what they're lying about. The wisdom of men is foolishness in the sight of God.
And share this everywhere on social media. There is no way around it. And I'm dead serious about that. Not only are they trapped mathematically, as you're going to see, but we actually are doing scale observation / experiments to show you that the mathematics also verifies that there is no way we have a moon 250,000 miles away and a sun 93 million miles away. Absolutely no.
See, this here, see the arms on that? It's a time calculator. It's patented in 1893, okay? You can't get a patent on something that does not work. So these channels that tell you this map is not real are shills. Just like Alex Jones is an agent in place. These so-called flat earthers telling you this map is wrong are liars. You can see that Australia in this map is bigger than the United States, okay? If you'll watch They Lie, We Live on my BitChute Hillbilly EDU channel, you'll see that you can use the suncalc and mooncalc.org site to demonstrate that during a lunar eclipse.
This guy, by many, many people, was considered a truther. He was considered what I'm doing right now. And suddenly, he decided that he's made more than enough money. He's getting sued, apparently, or whatever, and he was ready to leave the game. That's in his own words. I'm out of here. I'm done.
I don't want to be like, my life is not Sandy Hook. I'm sad their kids. Yeah, tell me what you were telling me earlier, that you were actually, even before all this happened, you were planning your exit strategy. Like, you get weary of this. Yeah, and it's not like I'm afraid of the fight, but I'm 45. And I've had a long, adventurous life, so I'm probably like 60. And I was already, like, I wasn't sure about Trump or whatever. Had this really bad feeling when I got elected. Not that he was bad, just like, oh, the war's about to start. And then I was already planning to kind of face things out just because I don't want to like die when I'm 55.
The more I started looking into this, the more I started understanding this is indeed a cosmic battle between good and evil, and our souls are the prize. Period. When you listen to these guys talk, it's completely the opposite. It's the aliens, it's this, it's that, it's the other thing. Take DMT, take ayahuasca. Here's another comment right here. This guy's telling me that, come on, man, God invented psychedelics. Okay, God invented psychedelics. Okay, all right. But how about this? DMT and ayahuasca aren't something that God put on an ayahuasca tree. To make ayahuasca, you have to use incredibly specific things that are not grown in the same area. And every single one of these people that have taken these things have met, quote unquote, aliens. Rick Strassman did extensive testing. This isn't a trip where people are all seeing similar things. They're all seeing the exact same things. And what are they seeing? Yep. I used to be an enormous, when I first woke up, this is what I listened to when I first started waking up. I actually listened to Joe Rogan. I actually listened to Graham Hancock, Dr. Robert Schoch. I did listen to L.A. Marzulli. I did listen to Brian Forrester. I still listen to Brian Forrester. But all these guys that were taking ayahuasca and taking DMT were all running into these things. And Graham Hancock constantly described running into snakes, serpents. Come on, man. So I'm not going to listen to a dude who is taking DMT and seeing other dimensional beings. I'm not going to listen to a guy, Alex Jones. The only reason if he was truly kicked off YouTube, which he wasn't, it was all an act. He just explains it at the very end of this video. If he was kicked off of YouTube, if he was such a threat where they had to get rid of him, this video wouldn't be up, because YouTube is not shy with sending you copyright. I've got 2 of them today. It's not even noontime. Do you see what I'm saying? The reason this pisses me off is because these guys are coming on here and Alex is completely doing what an agent in place would do. Do you think this card from 1997 is a complete and total coincidence that looks exactly like? Do you see what I'm saying?
Not really, of course. The power of suggestion.
If only all metal reflects on it.
George W. Bush did an Islamic extremist death warrant for Osama bin Laden, attacked a pilot in the cockpit.
Max, 3 other buildings put up by the Jericho Company have mysteriously blown up after completion.
Hi, it's Laura. We're getting an extra day of rehearsal, so we're doing it tonight instead of tomorrow. American flight 11:10:30. Can't wait. Bye.
And you're gonna see the Twin Towers come crumbling down, yeah!
Pictures so real, you won't believe your eyes.
The taking of the tower!
Going to
crashed the plane into the World Trade Center.
Number 7, World Trade Center. I've heard several reports from several different officers now that that is the building that is going to go down next.
Completely flabbergasted by it. Just couldn't comprehend it. I mean, it almost sounded too far-fetched.
This here is irrefutable proof, folks, that we've been lied to about the solar eclipse. On the right-hand side, you can see it says 4 times speed Omaha, and here in the main it says Beatrice time-lapse, 4 miles south of Crete, I believe. Look at this. It's coming from the opposite. You see that? Omaha, it's coming from the southwest. Beatrice, it's coming from the northeast. The shadow on the face of the sun. This contradicts what they tell you. They won't mention this. They won't talk about how that happens because it doesn't fit the lie they are trying to get us all to believe. This is the center line. This is just south of the center line of totality. And this is north of the line of totality.
Man, I've got certain information, all right? Certain things have come to light, and, you know, has it ever occurred to you that instead of running around blaming me, given the nature of all this new shit, this could be a lot more complex. I mean, it might not be just such a simple,
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
The moon can only be between the Earth and the Sun, possibly catching us in its shadow once about every 29.5 days. But the moon's orbit doesn't line it up perfectly between the Earth and the Sun every time, because it's tilted by 5 degrees. Most of the time, the moon's shadow misses the Earth by going above it or below it. That reduces the chances to just twice each year, 6 months apart. But not even all of those chances work out, because the moon's orbit isn't perfectly circular. That means sometimes it's farther away from us than others, and if it happens to be far enough away that we see it too small to cover the sun completely, leaving a bright ring or annulus of sun around it, that's not a total solar eclipse, it's called an annular eclipse.
They show you very colorful images, very nice cartoons. Makes a lot of sense until you inspect it closely and look for yourself. Everything they tell you is backwards from what you see. I'll go into detail and explain that.
The shadow that our moon casts on the Earth's surface isn't very wide. The 2017 eclipse shadow is about 65 miles wide as it crosses Nebraska.
For example, this cartoon, they show the moon going west, which is the way we observe it. But when you see NASA's explainer, I guess you would say, the communication mouthpiece, Alex, for NASA, he'll tell you the moon is going this direction. Okay? So it's going opposite from what we see it travel from our perspective. The cartoon shows it correct. But to explain the shadow going backwards, they tell you the moon is going this direction. But you know that's not true because it goes the same direction as the stars, from east to west, just like the sun. But you have to question what they tell you. If you don't question it, you won't see any of this. That proves they're lying. I really want you to grasp this concept, Curveball. I know it'll be easy for you because you really believe you live right here. And if you live right here and you're looking up here at this moon, all you ever see this moon do from your perspective is go from the east to the west. They are telling you that this is a real image from this satellite. This is video footage, time-lapse. None of these clouds move, but just pretend it's real. I know you can because you believe it is real. So this will be no problem that the clouds don't move for you. Huge problem for me. However, this is all real. Now, as it's flying past you here, notice he's got the moon going this way with the spin of the Earth. Now, the moon is faster than the Earth's rotation. Now, that's what he's telling you. But yet, you see it go the other way in the sky.
Not only that, but the center of the moon's shadow travels fast. It will enter the United States in Oregon at 12:16 p.m. our time. It gets to Alliance, Nebraska, a little more than a half an hour later at 12:49, and it reaches Lincoln at 1:02.
I just want to reiterate, this 70-mile wide shadow, if you go just north of the line of totality or just south of the line of totality, less than 100 miles apart, I will insert video taken from Omaha and from Beatrice, which was just south of the line of totality, in which the shadow is 180 reversed from this direction. So the crescent would start on the north, crescent would start in the south, depending on where you are on that line of totality. A lot of people, far away, over 1,000 miles apart, see that same phenomenon, and they say, well, it's the curve of the earth. That's why we see it come different. And then when you explain how could it be that the image of the shadow would reverse in such a small movement on the earth, then they want to pretend like this person is facing north and this person is facing south. That's how it happens. Impossible. The sun travels no further than the tropics, Capricorn and Cancer. So, in effect, everyone in North America has to face south to see the eclipse. So, the point is, it must be closer than what they tell you, or it couldn't do that. But you have to question what they tell you and look for yourself. Don't believe these lies they spill. If you look at it with your naked eye, you'll damage your eye. I looked at the entire 2017 eclipse with my naked eye, and I'm not running around with a seeing eye dog or glasses so thick I could see the future. Nothing happened. Lord willing, I'll do it again in 2024 around lots of ball earth believers so that maybe they can say, he's not worried about going blind? Because when you use the resolution of a camera, it cannot resolve the object in front of the sun as clearly as your eye can. And that's why they don't want you to look at it, because it's obvious. There's no craters. It's smooth. It's not the moon.
It will exit the United States off the South Carolina coast at 1:49 p.m. our time. So, back to Lincoln. What will we see here? Starting at about 11:37 a.m., the moon will begin taking a bite out of the sun. The partial eclipse begins. The bite keeps getting bigger and bigger. A little past 1:02 p.m., the last of the sun disappears behind the moon. The last light of the sun, shining between two mountains or a crater rim on the moon, slowly vanishes.
They will go into great detail about Bailey's beads or balls, craters, and all these things that they force feed you to try to make you believe it's the moon. We know everything that we're talking about. See, you've got this diamond ring effect. Well, if that's true, then how come when you're viewing it from here, the diamond ring effect's on this side? Viewing it from here, it's up here on the north. It wouldn't be. If it's a crater causing the Bailey's beads, then it would be only on one certain position of the moon. It wouldn't be all over depending on your perspective. They show what you're going to see if you're standing here. They show what you see if you stand here, but they don't explain none of it. It doesn't make sense. How could the bite out of the sun come on this side and then the shadow be over here? Things that doesn't fit their storyline, they won't talk about. They'll show it to you, but then won't even go into detail about it because they can't make it fit their story.
That's called the diamond ring effect. When it completely disappears, that's your signal that you can look directly at the eclipse with no protection for your eyes.
At the start, I'd shown you how they used copyright as an excuse to remove my video with the music. So I removed the music, and when I did such, I also removed the sound from the animation. So I'll just do a voiceover here. If you want the unedited version, you can go over to my Hillbilly EDU channel on BitChute and watch it there. But let's critically think about what they're showing us. They say that the moon's always half lit. Now when it's in a new moon phase, we should see a dark circle in the sky. Even when it's not totally eclipsing the sun, right? But we don't. We see no moon at all. It's invisible. You can read along here as they try to explain to us what we're seeing. And I'll show you a real video I made in the daytime sky with a full moon. which according to what they tell us is going on is impossible. See, the new moon, you should see a dark orb in the sky, the outline of the moon, but we don't. Now right here, these here, it's a misnomer what they have on the screen. They show you the stars. These phases of the moon, according to what they tell us, should only be visible in a blue sky with no stars. On the daylight side of the earth, this is all you should see, if they are correct, which they are not. Right there. See, they're showing you. That's how you see a half a moon, and it's always on this side. So when it's on the other side of the earth, you see the other side lit. This side that's dark would be lit, right? But that's not what you see. You'd always see it in the western sky, the left half would be lit up. But that's not what you see. We'll continue on with the animation. Okay, right here. Many of you have seen this or more lit in the daytime sky. But as their animation shows you, you're on the Terminator side, you can't see through the curve of the earth to see that. But you do see this different times of the year, including a full moon in the daytime sky with the sun. That would mean it would have to be over here for you to see it, which does not conform to what they're trying to tell you. So you know they're lying. Right there. This is how they explain the full moon. See, it's behind you. So here, if you're in the daytime, you can't see a full moon because you'd be seeing through the curve of the earth. You're starting to see it's not so beautiful. It's just a lie. But you have to critically think and question what they're telling us. You have a willingness to believe the lies. See? Now the left side is lit when it's over here. That'd be in the western sky. And that's not what you see. Check it out. Don't take my word for it. It's like the term syzygy for the lunar eclipse. The darkened area of the lunar eclipse is opposite of what you would see if it's the Earth causing the shadow. The term syzygy is a made-up word for the excuse of you seeing the sun and the moon in the sky during a lunar eclipse, which celestial mechanics says is impossible. You can't see it, but you do. And then they want to claim it's refraction. Well, why is the shadow opposite of what you should see if it's the Earth? It should be eclipsed down here, but it's wrong. It's opposite.
find a lot of that here at Goddard. I often talk to people about what a scientist is like. And I'll use an example like our Alex Young, whose office is full of toys. 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 And I mean, nobody would think Alex would lie to you. Alex is a good guy, right? I mean, when you actually get to know us, you break down this myth. He's got the best toys, right? I mean, go to his office. I mean, I'd never seen Sgt. Pepper action figures before. You know, this is just a shot from Alex's office. And instead of reacting with, you know, with rage and with condemnation and with talking about how stupid you are, this is from my office, actually. This is my customized Lego Death Star. I customized it for NASA because Chris Hadfield's about to sneak up on Darth Vader.
And here is the crew of the rocket ship Lunar Eagle.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Ship Lunar Eagle.
The Eagle has landed.
Ship Lunar Eagle.
The Eagle has...
Time you book a vacation, you can consider a hotel stay in space. Tech startup company Orion Span is working on a luxury space hotel. It's called the Aurora Station and boasts an impressive 16 sunrises a day. Trips are 12 days long, and it only will cost you $9.5 million for that 12-day stay. The space station is expected to make its debut in 2021. Whew. Hey, but just us normal people can go to space.
40 years ago, 2 Voyagers began their odyssey into space. After 37 years of inactivity, NASA engineers have managed to fire up the backup thrusters of Voyager 1, humanity's farthest and longest-lived spacecraft.
I think none of us knew when we launched 40 years ago that anything would be working for such a wonderful long journey.
The Voyager team is now able to use 4 backup thrusters that haven't been used since 1980.
The transmitters on the Voyager spacecraft are slightly over 20 watts, about what your refrigerator light bulb would give off. So when the signal crosses that vast distance to us, the strength of the signal is 1/10 trillionth of a billionth of a watt, which is the equivalent of 1 divided by 10 with 21 zeros after it.
You can find a scientific paper that says practically anything. That's what we have.
Horizons probe just sent back this picture of a snowman that our solar system built. Yeah, it's 2 icy spheres sitting just beyond Pluto that scientists are calling Ultima Thule.
You can't make this shit up, curveball. Wake up before you burn up. You're programmed with this fake NASA space shit month after month, year after year. Now they've got you believing the Chinese shit. Yeah, it looks real to me. And then how gravity works explains why you only see one side of the moon. It's so retarded. But you're oblivious to these facts. You've been indoctrinated by pseudoscience. Wake up. But in reality, the real world operates off the technology of Tesla. Do your research on the subject. He believed in free and...
People really excited. Back to you, David.
Thanks so much, Olivia. These are stunning sights. The beauty of the colors. You know, we normally only obviously experience this, you know, at sunset, at twilight. And now so many parts of this country are going to see it turn into night and then day again within a matter of just a couple of minutes' time. Next up, Idaho Falls. You can see the lower corner of your screen. A minute, 53 seconds to the next totality, and Eva Pilgrim is standing by. This is the official NASA observation site, right, Eva?
That's right, David. And they have a lot of scientists here that are actually working, because this is a rare opportunity to actually do experiments and to see the corona, that area around the sun that's so bright and so much hotter than the sun. They don't know why it's hotter than the sun, and they're trying to figure it out. This gives them an opportunity to actually look at it because the sunlight isn't blinding them. And we are watching this as it goes now. It's getting skinnier and skinnier and darker and cooler. Where people...
His story, that's what history is. Don't forget, curveball. His story. What you're looking at right there.
Hey, not like anything that you could ever imagine seeing, David. One of the interesting things that they're doing...
What I have right here is that this... Yeah, go ahead.
One of the other interesting things they're doing are launching balloons with bacteria in them, because the stratosphere above the Earth at this time is like Mars. It's similar to Mars, so they're trying to see if they can have life on Mars and if that bacteria will survive. So they're running all these experiments and they're watching it out of this location. Some really interesting things.
Yeah, a little cosmic geography, because of what it's not only doing to the sun, but what it's doing to the Earth's atmosphere, as Eva points out. And just to keep in mind here, what Eva's experiencing, this max totality, is 1 minute 48 seconds there. It shows you that in all these different spots, it depends on where you are in that 70-mile ribbon. That's what determines how long your totality lasts. I want to take you to the next picture, because this is extraordinary. You know, never eclipse the bride, they say, but let's go to the next location where there's one bride who was determined. Look at this. She was determined. To all of you who love them.
Don't you just love how this is news? I mean, it's a feel-good story. We know what it is. It's the moon. NASA's doing research on it. They're checking it out already. We know what it is. They want everybody to feel good, so they're showing the wedding. What's wrong with that? This is supposed to be science, is it not?
The moon is faster than the Earth's rotation? Now that's what he's telling you. But yet, you see it go the other way in the sky. Now, I want you to grasp this concept. Let me pull up Stellarium.
All of this wonderful detail that we have as scientists isn't getting into people's minds right now. And I'm really sick of this fake news stuff and the scientific conspiracy stuff. I'm angry. And one of the things that I have to come back over and over again, and people like, I mean, a lot of our politicians, a lot of people that are involved in acting know this lesson. Sometimes it's not about what you're saying at all, but how you're saying it. And as social primates, tuned by evolution to respond to each other and to be influenced by each other, we're so much more vulnerable to somebody that seems confident and bombastic and aggressive. But this actually, we talked about being social primates. This is footage from the day that the Curiosity lander landed. And I just want to sort of run to the end, because I think that there's a really interesting point here. When you see people excited by something, and when you see them enjoying themselves, and it seems to be important to them, as I mentioned, we are social primates. There might be some psychopaths out there, but hopefully not many of you. But when you see people responding this way, you want to know what's going on.
Certainly, this beautiful theater of tonight, the drama of us all being able to experience it together, unrivaled in the experience for all of us. And with that, really, I have nothing more to say. That picture says it all for me.
Events like this, you can think they're kind of gratuitous. You can think they're not that all important. I mean, all these people cheering. You notice, there's scientists cheering, and this was the Planetary Society meeting in Pasadena and all that. I mean, there's people that are our audience, and we know they're excited. But did you notice that some of those people were on Times Square in New York? In New York? So, I mean, they just saw on the big, jumbotrons that something amazing was going on. They saw people screaming and jumping up and down, and everybody excited. And all of a sudden, they wanted to know what was going on. Up to 5 million people watching the damn press conference. I mean, these are not horribly exciting. Here, I'm NASA. We're your NASA. It's me. It's Michelle. It's NASA. Let me tell you what happened. I'll tell you everything that happened. Totally everything.
No.
Our brains hone right into that. You know, like I said, that is what our ape brains do.
And just to stay in character, we've been on the surface for 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 16 seconds.
What is going on here? And I've been looking more into how you sort of hack this. You know, how do you actually get people to respond to you, primate to primate, so that they listen to what you're saying? Because we have some damn important things to talk to people about.
So it looked good, in short. Good and clean. And it looks, at least by my eyeball, that we landed in a nice, flat spot.
And this is the kind of chart they make me make now. I hate this, but I just want to show you a few things. So I'm presenting tomorrow at headquarters about this. We're now tracking all of the different ways that these new communication products are going out. You know, whether it's things like the social media, or just regular media products. I do all this gathering now of data to try to figure out what actually is happening. And here's some of the numbers that I think are kind of amazing. They kind of blew me away. So in the case of the TRAPPIST result, it wasn't quite up to Pluto, but we were up at 3 billion, which is really, really pretty good for what I think is an incremental result about exoplanets. And one of the things that actually really surprised me, so up on TV multimedia, so total press conference views, almost 5 million people watched our press conference at NASA. That did not used to happen. The story is that I was on Fox and Friends. I was asked to be on Fox and Friends to talk about how NASA is lying to people.
A plumber, his work is verifiable. It's everything a plumber does is observable. You can experience it and measure it. It's essential. It's practical. It's also repeatable. The techniques work again and again. It's a true science. And it's also reproducible. There's somebody else who's a plumber that could also be done separately in the same way. It's not just somebody making up bullcrap.
And this is a cultural thing going on right now that is something we need to really pay attention to. The idea is, how come I don't trust scientists? They're so arrogant. Well, plumbers know more about plumbing than you do, right? And mechanics know more about cars than you do. So why is it scientists are arrogant and wrong? And why is it that we're perpetuating these horrible lies and conspiracies?
So when you're making stuff up and you expect somebody to believe it, and you don't have any way for them to verify it independently, they have to take your word for it, and you are so self-contradicting and displaying psychological issues that are innumerable in this case, for example, and you're the top scientist, top communicator for the top scientific organization of the greatest country on the globe. I'm sorry, but we're not going to believe you. So yes, if we question you, don't be offended. If you go on Fox News and have to answer about NASA lying, don't have sleepless nights. If you believe in what you're doing, and you can back it up with evidence, the data that you so fondly speak of, the pictures you talk about, I'm not talking about CGI'd show rings, I'm talking about pictures. Bring it to the table. Don't be afraid. You don't have to play any games. You don't have to sell it. Just show me the data.